Day 4. Today we'll focus briefly on our father in faith, Abraham. When we initially encounter him in Genesis, he was known as Abram. Then God formed a covenant with Abram, and his name changes to Abraham. Within that covenant, God blessed him and promised him that he will be a father to a multitude of many nations. God also told both Abraham and Sarah that they will be blessed with a child. For them, such a promise seems pretty strange, considering at that moment Abraham was almost 100 years old and Sarah was 90 years old, which was beyond the possibility of giving birth at that time. Yet, in God's eyes, nothing is impossible, and they were blessed with a child and named him Isaac. To have a child after many years of not being able to conceive, I can imagine it is a joy for any parent. But it didn't stop there, because God decided to test Abraham by asking him to offer up Isaac as a sacrifice. To get such a request from God, considering it is your only child, would make us think this is such a cruel God. We all know in the end, God prevents Abraham from slaughtering his son and recognizes his faithfulness and elaborates on the covenant he made earlier, saying, "Because you did not withhold your son from me, I will bless you and multiply your descendants as the stars of heaven and as the sand which is on the seashore." What we can learn from Abraham is his willingness to follow God at any moment. First, God calls him to pack up his belongings, leave his country, and go to a distant land. Then, he is asked to offer up his son as a sacrifice at a mountain. The journey to that mountain took 3 days. Imagine the agony he had to go through, thinking he would lose his son and never see him again. Yet, he was willing to follow God. Thankfully, he didn't have to sacrifice Isaac. His willingness to follow wherever God would lead him is worth reflecting. And that willingness is a beautiful quality that makes him our Father in faith.